Yo, what is up YouTube? It's your boy Legend and I am back with another video. What if Naruto was the strongest Soul Reaper? If you guys like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you at it. The like goal for today's video is going to be 7 likes. That is the new like goal that we are hitting. And there's no sub goal. But hit that like button. And without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if. Naruto awoke with a sharp gasp, his chest rising and falling as if he'd surfaced from deep water. His golden hair clung slightly to his forehead, damp with sweat, and his muscles ached not from pain, but from the exertion of the night before. His sapphire eyes darted around, scanning the unfamiliar yet soft surroundings before slowly settling into clarity. He was in Unohana's room, her bedroom to be precise. The walls were decorated with simple elegance, a reflection of her disciplined but quietly warm personality. A faint scent of herbs, steel, and lilac lingered in the air, comforting, familiar. A silk sheet barely covered his waist, while his clothes from the night before were folded neatly on a nearby chair. Sunlight filtered through the slated window blinds, golden rays stripping the polished wooden floors. From beyond the sliding door, the sound of running water ceased. Moments later, the door opened with a soft rustle. Unohana Retsu, his lover, girlfriend, the first Kenpachi, the elegant terror wrapped in serenity, emerged from the bathroom. She was dressed in her standard Captain Shihakusho, sleeves smooth and fitted, her long braid freshly tied and gleaming with moisture from her earlier shower. Her eyes met his with a warm, calm fondness, and a hint of mischief flickered behind them. "I see you're finally awake," she said softly, stepping forward with the grace of a predator at ease. Before he could respond, Unohana leaned in and placed a lingering kiss on his lips. It was slow and intimate, her hand lightly brushing his jaw before pulling away. When their lips parted, Naruto flushed, scratching at the back of his head. Yeah, he mumbled. "I remember last night. You really don't hold back." Unohana's smile was unreadable. As always, gentle but somehow dangerous. "You didn't seem to mind, though I apologize for accidentally killing you." Naruto groaned, falling back onto the pillow. "You killed me during sex, Unohana. I mean, I've died before, but that's gotta be a record, even for me." She chuckled softly, an almost musical sound that echoed with centuries of secrets. "At least I brought you back. You're very resilient, though you'll need more practice keeping up." Naruto buried his face in the sheets to hide his red cheeks. After a moment, he sat back up and looked at her more seriously. "Hey, I'm gonna go check out Aizen's old office. There might be something useful left behind. Think you can cover for me for an hour or so?" Unohana's expression didn't change, but she nodded once. "Of course, but be cautious. Not everyone is content letting ghosts stay buried." "Yeah," Naruto muttered, swinging his legs off the bed. "I've got that feeling too." He stood, stretching his arms over his head, the light catching the subtle markings of past battles along his toned chest and arms. Then he grabbed a fresh towel and made his way to the bathroom for a quick shower. Elsewhere in the Soul Society, Captain Byakuya and Kuchiki stood in the head captain's office beside the ancient and towering Yamamoto. Before them hovered a digital chart growing faintly with spirit energy, projecting hollow activity over the expansive town of Karakura. The data was troubling, to say the least. Karakura's hollow presence has been unusually active, Yamamoto noted grimly, his voice a low rumble. Minnows class confirmed. However, the intruder was neutralized. Byakuya's eyes narrowed faintly. That's not possible. Kuchiki Rukia's Ryetsu is not yet sufficient to defeat a Minnows. She was sent there to monitor activity, not confront threats of this magnitude. Yamamoto's gaze turned sharp. Then, someone else was involved. I'll go retrieve her, Byakuya said quietly. There's more. Rukia has ceased reporting in. No messages have arrived in over 48 hours. Yamamoto didn't speak, but his approval was clear. Byakuya turned on his heel and departed in a whisper of silken robes, already calculating the best route to the world of the living. Back in the barracks of Squad 5, Naruto moved swiftly but silently through the empty corridors of Squad 5, his sandaled feet making no sound on the polished wooden floor. The barracks were quiet, too quiet. With Aizen dead and the division still in disarray, no one lingered here unless assigned. He made it to the office door and paused, glancing both ways. No spiritual signatures in range. Good. With a careful hand, Naruto slid open the office door and slipped inside. The air was stale, but not abandoned. Someone had been here not long ago. He began searching. Drawers, bookshelves, loose panels, secret compartments. It took nearly an hour, but eventually he found several items worth noting. A series of handwritten notes on hollows, some older logs on the evolutions of Arankars and Espada, and most damningly a thick, well-worn book with the Soul King sigil on the cover. Several sections were annotated in Aizen's distinct script. Entire paragraphs had been highlighted, diagrams, theories, speculation on what lay beyond the fabric of reality. But that wasn't all. Tucked behind a false drawer panel, Naruto found delicate parchment papers, notes on something called the Hōgyoku. Most of it was scientific gibberish to him, but one note was highlighted. The Hōgyoku rests dormant inside her. The girl doesn't know either, neither do they. Her? Rukia. His grip tightened on the papers. There was more to this than Momo's accusations or even the mystery of Aizen's death. Something deep. Something planned. With his arms full of folders and scrolls, Naruto vanished from the room, retreating into the shadows and heading straight for Squad 4. Unohana would know what all this meant. She had to. When Naruto arrived at Unohana's office, she looked up at him in disbelief when she saw all that he was carrying. What is all of that? Naruto sat the papers, scrolls, and books down on the edge of her desk. This is all I found in Aizen's office. I don't know what most of this means, so I was hoping you did. Unohana picked up a piece of parchment paper from the pile and looked up at Naruto. Most of it? Naruto's face twitched at her keen ability to see right through him. Fine, all of it. Unohana pulled the pile of books, papers, and scrolls closer. She started with a book, and as she scanned the first page, her eyebrows rose. What have you been researching, Sosuke Aizen? 8 hours had passed since the fading sunlight dipped beneath the horizon, and a quiet, uneasy darkness had swallowed Karakura Town whole. The stillness was broken only by the rhythmic tap of sandals on pavement. Perched atop a lamppost overlooking the narrow, lamp-lit street were 2 silent sentinels, Byakuya Kuchiki and his ever-loyal lieutenant, Renji Abarai. Both remained cloaked in shadow, their spiritual pressure masked expertly as their keen eyes tracked the figure below, Rukia Kuchiki. She ran through the night in a white sundress and flat sandals, the hem fluttering against her knees as she moved. Her gig eye made her indistinguishable from any ordinary human girl, but what unsettled the 2 observers wasn't her appearance. It was what they sensed, or rather, what they didn't. So, she's lost her power, Renji muttered grimly. His frown was deep, brows furrowed, as he watched the girl they'd both risked everything to protect in the past, now reduced to shadow of herself. Her once vibrant Ryatsu had been stripped down to a flicker, barely above that of a spiritually aware human. Byakuya gave no response. His slate-gray eyes remained impassive and unreadable, though they tracked his younger sister's every step with surgical precision. Rukia's breath came hard and fast as she finally slowed, pausing near the edge of a quiet intersection. The silence was shattered by a chilling voice. How long did you plan to run? The blood drained from Rukia's face. Her body trembled as she turned toward the sound. Big brother. A soft gust of wind swept her hair to one side as a figure dropped silently behind her. Renji, she whispered, more of a plea than a greeting. Renji's brown eyes gleamed under the streetlight. He shifted his zanpakuto over his shoulder. So, you really did lose your Soul Reaper abilities, huh? He said flatly. Rukia stepped back instinctively. Before she could gather her thoughts, Renji swung his zanpakuto in a lazy arc. It wasn't fast, not even aimed to kill, but it forced her to dodge clumsily. She barely avoided it, her sandals skidding on the pavement. In a flash, Renji was behind her. He delivered a swift kick to her side, sending her crashing into a parked car. The metal dented under the impact. She groaned as she slumped against it. What a shame, Renji said, walking towards her. A hit like that would have been nothing to you before, but now, you can't even dodge a simple kick. The sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the alley. All 3 turned toward the source. A teenage boy with square-rimmed glasses, dressed in a crisp school uniform, stepped out. Are these 2 men bothering you, Rukia? He asked, adjusting his glasses. Renji raised an eyebrow. And who might you be? The boy's voice was calm and resolute. I'm one of Rukia's classmates. Also, one of the last remaining Quincy. I came out for some sewing supplies, but now I'm here to protect my classmate from you 2. Byakuya didn't so much as glance at the boy. To him, the Quincy was beneath notice. Renji, however, smirked and lowered his weapon slightly. Is that so? He said with amused menace. Well then, feel free to try. Elsewhere, Naruto sat beside Unohana in her office. Scrolls, books, and parchment paper lay scattered across her desk. Unohana finally placed the last parchment down with a soft sigh. Okay, she said, her voice steady despite the burden of what she had just read. It's a lot, but I'll try to explain as best I can. Naruto leaned forward in his chair, his cerulean eyes fixed on her. His spiky blonde hair was slightly a mess, and his features gave him a perpetual air of alertness. Okay, Naruto-kun. You know what hollows are, yes? Naruto nodded. Good. If you didn't, I'd be worried for your intelligence. He gave her a look of mock offense, and she allowed herself the smallest smiles before continuing. An Arankar is a hollow that has removed its mask and gained Soul Reaper-like powers. For example, you remember the one you fought 8 years ago when Soul Society was attacked? Yeah, Naruto replied, sitting up straighter. I think his name was Yukiora. Unohana nodded. He was an Arankar. Now, Espada is simply the designation for the 10 most powerful Arankar, those who serve directly under Aizen. Naruto absorbed the information, his eyes narrowing in thought. And as for the Soul King, he's essentially a guide. He maintains the balance between the 3 realms, the human world, Soul Society, and Hueco Mundo. Aizen seeks to overthrow him. Naruto scratched the back of his head, visibly trying to process the absurdity. How the hell does someone overthrow a god? Unohana reached for another scroll and continued. That's where the Hōgyoku comes in. It's a wish-granting device that reshapes reality based on the user's inner desires, provided that they have the potential to fulfill those desires. Naruto froze. His instincts screamed as pieces began falling into place. His voice was quiet. The Hōgyoku. It's inside Rukia, isn't it? And she doesn't even know. Unohana nodded solemnly. Yes, and Aizen wants it. And Rukia is the key. Back in the streets of Karakura Town, Ichigo Kurosaki lay on the ground, blood smeared across his face, dripping from a deep gash above his eye. His spiritual energy flickered weakly, unstable. His hand gripped the hem of Byakuya Shihakasho, shaking. You talk about me like I'm already dead, Ichigo muttered. Byakuya looked down at him, unmoved. Let go. Ichigo smirked as he held on tighter. It would take a lot more than that to actually kill me. You know that, right? Byakuya reached for Senbon Sakura. Then I guess you won't be needing this arm anymore. Before he could draw, Rukia stepped forward and kicked Ichigo's hand away. Her breath was shaky, but her voice was clear. How dare you speak to my brother like that? You're not even qualified to touch him, let alone talk to him. He is far above you, but a human like you, arrogant and prideful, can't see that. Ichigo stared at her in disbelief, pain flashing in his eyes. Rukia. I realize now that I was wrong, she continued, turning to her brother. I acknowledge my crimes. I'm ready to return to Soul Society. Renji stepped forward, sparing a glance at the unconscious form of Uryu Ishida, crumpled nearby. He didn't even dignify the Quincy with a word. His attention was on Ichigo, whose body trembled with shame and helplessness. Renji felt a flicker of pity. Ichigo hadn't even seen the attack that struck him down. Byakuya had moved faster than his eyes could even see or track, and now the boy would lose everything. Let's go, Byakuya said simply. Together, the 3 of them, Byakuya, Renji, and Rukia, turned and began to walk away. The darkness of the night swallowed them, leaving behind 2 broken bodies in the empty street. Ichigo, bloodied and silent, stared at the pavement before passing out. He was powerless and defeated. But there was another figure that wouldn't let either of them die. And that was Kisuke Urahara. But guys, we're going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. But without further ado, I am out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Stay blessed, fam.